Welcome once again. It's Relationships at Work, your leadership guide to building workplace connections and avoiding those blind spots. I'm your host, Russel Lolacher, communications leadership expert, a couple of decades of experience in both those areas, and a whole heap of curiosity, just like you, on how we can make the workplace better. This is a mini episode, just about 10 minutes or so, quick, valuable bits of information to help you and your mindset for the week ahead. These are all inspired by the Raw Note newsletter that if you haven't signed up for yet, highly recommend you do. Relationshipsatworkshow.com. At the top, you'll see free stuff. Just follow all the prompts and you'll get that in your inbox, just like that. But let's not dilly-dally. Let's get right into it. Our topic today, the vital need for nuance and context. Our minds like to simplify things. It's easier for us to just quantify it, to understand it. It's where stereotypes come from. A nice, easy way to put something into a box, label it, put it on a mental shelf, and then just reference it as an absolute truth when we need to. The world is becoming quite divisive for this very reason. Everything is black or white, and if we suggest otherwise, we're wrong. There's not a lot of room for gray anymore, it seems. Cultures are toxic. Leaders are horrible. Systems are broken. There's only one way of doing things, aka my way. If it hasn't worked before, it'll never work again. These are absolutes. These are what we do to quantify things, to simplify them. We make these statements. But at work, as in life, nothing is ever that simple. And as leaders, we can't fall into the trap of perpetuating these absolutes. To truly demonstrate great leadership, we need to embrace nuance and context. Nuance is defined as a slight difference, the finer, more delicate aspects of something. Context, on the other hand, is about the circumstances that shape an idea, a statement, or an event. So how do nuance and context help us challenge those absolute statements? Well, let's take one statement as an example. Our culture is toxic. You hear that enough online? I've seen it posted repeatedly. You hear it in conversation as well, whether it's a place you work at or through friends and relationships where they're talking about their workplace. I've heard it from members of this community as well. A very straightforward, matter-of-fact statement, our culture is toxic. So let's dig into that, shall we? Let's understand how nuance and context works, because truthfully, we have to get super curious here to really dig deeper and understand what we're talking about. Nothing is ever that black and white. Toxic to whom? Is it the entire organization, or a specific subculture, or a specific individual that is toxic? Who is demonstrating that toxic behavior? Who is enabling it? Is the entire culture toxic? Or is it a few actions with big impacts? How are we defining toxic here? Who gets to define it? Is it an individual or a team issue? How long has this been a problem? What has been done or not done in the past to address it? Is this based on one occasion or many? How well is the leader trained that is in charge of this culture? What's going on in their life outside of work? What's going on in the life outside of work of the person that says it's toxic? There's all these other factors. Digging deeper for that nuance and that context, it matters. It really, really matters. I'm not suggesting that a culture isn't toxic when someone experiencing it says it is. If someone feels impacted by a toxic environment, we can't argue with their experience. It's their experience. But I'm also not interested in taking things at face value without understanding the nuance and context behind it. Now, on this podcast, we've talked repeatedly about leadership superpowers like self-awareness and communication. And in this case, we're talking about situational awareness. Few situations are ever just one thing to everybody. Great leaders get super curious so they can make informed decisions for their teams. Now, on the flip side of that, leaders also can't assume everything is fine. That only masks problems others might be experiencing. I've seen executives take the word of bad leaders that everything is great when it's far from it. That's the thing. Bad leaders are great at fooling their bosses, but not so great at fooling their teams. So even if it's great, even if it's bad, there's still nuance and context to investigate. So the question I have this week is, how can we embrace nuance and context in our situational awareness at work? So here's one example. Actively seek diverse perspectives. Relying just on your own perspective limits how much you can really understand, especially in complex situations. So I'd suggest involving people with different experiences, roles, backgrounds when analyzing problems. Or use techniques like the devil's advocacy approach or structured debate to uncover those blind spots. Another approach is invest in contextual research. Understanding the broader landscape and bigger picture, it ensures informed decision-making that will align with realities beyond just your own. Get out of your own head, kind of thing. One of the suggestions I suggest for this is regularly reviewing historical data, project outcomes, patterns from previous work to identify what has or hasn't worked in similar situations. Now, one of my favorites is approaching situations with a root cause analysis, using a mindset around this to understand why things are the way they are. Asking that why question 5 times is a great way to do this. I've seen that exercise done quite a few times. When somebody brings something up, go why? 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 Digging deeper, digging deeper, digging deeper. You'll be amazed at what you can find. Another thing we can do is adapt communication and leadership styles. I love when people say they have a communication style or a leadership style. I'm like, well, then you're not a very good leader, because leaders have to adapt and have different communication style and leadership styles based on the teams or the environments they're in. And situational awareness requires flexibility. So adapting our approach to fit the moment and the people involved is super important. So use emotional intelligence to read the room, to get more perspectives than just the one that you're getting, the singular one you might be getting. You could adjust your tone, your language, your delivery based on your audience's needs, right? Be present, mindful in your interactions, paying attention to verbal and nonverbal cues. That might signal some underlying concerns. So you're not just getting what is said, you're getting deeper into it based on body language, based on, presence. I hope that helps. Nuance and context give us the bigger picture, rather than the microcosm of, say, a moment or one person's experience. As leaders, we have to consider the micro and the macro of our work environment. And nuance and context, it helps us get closer to that true understanding, and that's where the real leadership is. I hope that was helpful. Hope at least gives you maybe pause next time when somebody rushes to some conclusion, good or bad, that you might have to be a little Inspector Gadget here and dig a little deeper and maybe find out that there are other avenues, examples, angles to look at this. It's just more information for you as a leader to make better decisions instead of just that one side, because one side doesn't really fit all. And that will do it for another mini episode of Relationships at Work, your leadership guide to building workplace connections and avoiding blind spots. I am always, as ever, your host, Russel Lolacher. I hope you've enjoyed this mini episode and maybe think you a little different, maybe reinforce things you already thought, but might need to, integrate some practices that will really strengthen some of these muscles that help us as leaders. Because helping us as leaders only helps our teams and our organizations. And that's what we're here for. All right, you take care of yourself, and I look forward to talking to you again.